Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Lightning Web Components. So today we are going to talk about wrapper classes in LWC. I believe that you already would be knowing about what a wrapper class is, but I can quickly brief you. And rather than just going with the definition, I would like to explain that with an example. So let's assume that I have to display a table and I have to create a Lightning Web Components in order to display this table. Okay. So if you observe the column names, right? Account name, type, total contacts and address, right? So from account object, when you'll actually be writing a method in your Apex controller, what and all you can fetch directly from the account. You can get account name, account type, account address, but for context, you would have to query on contacts. Similarly, let's say in a single table, you have to display data from more than one objects, right? So here we can see that we have to actually get the information from account and from contact. Let's say I also want to display associated opportunities, or let's say list of contacts, right? That what and all contacts are associated with the account. So just imagine in such cases, what will you do? If you go with a very basic way, what would you do? You would actually be creating different methods in your Apex controller, right? And then you would be passing the account list, and then let's say contact list, and let's say opportunity list if you want to display that. So you would have three different lists, right? That you would be passing to your JS controller, and then you would be passing that to your HTML file, and you would be iterating over those three lists separately on your HTML file, right? That would make your code really complex and difficult, right? So in such cases, right, wherever you need to display information from more than one object, what you can do is you can use a wrapper class. So wrapper class is nothing but it can contain data members from different objects. Similarly, in this example, from account, from contact, and from opportunity. So you can wrap it all in your wrapper class, and then you can send a single wrapper class list to your JS file, and then you can iterate over that wrapper list on your HTML file. So you wouldn't have to really do it separately for each of the information that you need across multiple objects. Okay. So I believe I'm just wondering that you actually at least got the idea what a wrapper class is. So let's just go ahead and implement this example where we would only be needing data from account and from contact. All right. So I'll just go ahead and move to my VS Code. So here is my VS Code. I'll first go ahead and create a LWC component. All right. So we can get started with the LWC component. First of all, let's just see that what and all do we need on the table. We need account name, type, total contacts, and address. So we know that we would have to write an Apex method. So let's just go ahead and create an Apex class and try to fetch the information first. Then we'll get started with the component. So I'll go ahead and create a class. So here I would first create a wrapper class inside this class. Okay. Let's name it as account contact wrapper class. And here, whatever the information that I need on the table, I would be creating variables for those. Okay. So first I would be needing all the accounts, right? So public, and for all the account, for every single record of account, the data type would be account, right? So that is what I would be defining it as ACC. Okay. So here, sorry. And every whatever variables or whatever you're defining, everything has to be aura enabled. So I would have to add this tag as aura enabled. And second, and then similarly we have to create other variables. So I'll just copy this. Okay, so the first thing that we need is account. The second thing that we need is total contacts, right? So let me name it as total contacts. And total contacts would be, the return type would be integer, right? Because it is going to show us a count. The next thing that we need is billing address. So, which is nothing but it is going to be the string, right? So I would be defining it as string. What else do we need? We need account type, right? So I'm going to give it as type, and type would also be a string. Okay, and account record, but account name as well, right? So let me take another one. This one is for the for the whole record of account, but I would have to define the account name variable separately. So here account name, and account name is going to be string again. And also in your table, right? So one more thing, let's say in your table, if you want to display the account name as like normal values without hyperlinks, right? Because there are tables you would have seen that account name, you can click on the account name and actually can navigate. So for example, in this table, if I have these information available, I can click on test one, and then I would be navigating to that particular account detail. And similarly, I can click on test two, test three, and then I can navigate to those respective records, right? So in that, in order to create that hyperlink, what we can do is we can also create an account link. Okay, and I'll show you that how you can embed that hyperlink on your account name, right, when you're creating the columns in your JS file. So don't worry about it. Just try to understand that if you want to display the name from the account object, which you would be fetching from the wrapper list, and along with the account name, if you want to make it as a hyperlink, what we are going to do is we are going to create two properties. One is account name, the other one is account link. Okay, and I'll show you how you can actually embed those in your columns when you're creating it in your JS file. So here, what I would do is I would create another variable over here, and I will name it as account link. Okay, so account link. And account link would be what? Account link is also going to be of string type. Okay, so I think I have everything. I have account record, total contacts, billing address, type, account name, and account link. This is basically is I'm going to use it just for displaying just to display the account name, but with a hyperlink. Okay, so all right, now what we'll do is we will create this is the wrapper class that you're creating, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and create a parameterized constructor for this particular class. Okay, so that when I'm actually writing my method, because I would have to fill in data into this wrapper, right? So I would be creating a parameterized constructor. Okay, and then I would be defining those values over there. And once that is done, and when I'm actually creating a method to fetch the account and contacts, I would call that parameterized method. I'll create an instance and I will fill in data in that method. Okay, so again, don't worry if you're not getting it, you'll understand. So let's just create a constructor. Okay, so here I would be needing basically two things. And then integer total contacts. Okay, I'm only passing these two variables and not everything else, because you can get everything else just from the account. So for example, if I get the account record, right, I can get the account name, I can get the account type, I can also get the account address, right, account billing address. And when I'm trying to calculate the size, I will be actually calculating the size over here itself. When I create that method for fetching the account and contact details, I would be calculating the size of the contacts there itself. So only passing these two parameters would actually suffice filling in this contact wrapper list. Okay, the list that we would be defining using this wrapper class. Okay, so here, okay, so let's just quickly. Okay, and then what else do we have? We have total contacts. Then what do we have? We have account link, right? So this dot account link. So this is how you actually create a hyperlink. Okay, you can give a slash. 1 second, you can give a slash. Sorry, I think I have to switch my keyboard. Slash, and then you have to give plus and account ID, ACC ID. Okay, ACC dot ID, and that's it. Okay, so this is for your account contacts, account link. What else do we have? Type. Okay, this dot type is equals to type. Okay, sorry, acc.type, right? Because you'll be getting these details from the account. Okay, acc.type, and then this dot, what else do we have? Account name, right? So account name, we'll be getting it from the acc.name, right? acc.name. Okay, and then we have this dot, what, billing address, right? So billing address you would be getting from, what do you want to assign to this billing address? I want to assign, so billing address is a compound field, right? So it's basically it's a combination of city, street, zip code, and all of that, right? So let's just only combine, let's say 2 to 3 fields. So here, if from account, if I take like acc dot, let's say billing street, billing street, and I want to concatenate this, let's just provide a space in between, or let's say a comma. Okay, and then acc dot billing city, and also let's just do one more thing, let's also provide country. Okay, billing country, and that's all. Let's just not give everything here. These three are enough. Okay, so what I did, I created a wrapper class. I have, like, declared my variables, what and all I want, and I have created a parameterized constructor wherein I would be receiving account and total contacts, and I am just like, just defining that, like, which of these variables should have what value. Okay, so in account, I should, like, be receiving the whole account record. In my total contacts, right, I should be receiving the total contacts, the integer value, and in on my account list, what should be, like, how should it be forming? It should be whatever account id I would be receiving, it should append this slash before the account id, and type I should be receiving from acc.type, and similarly name and the address. Okay, so this is my wrapper class and it got created, and let's just go ahead and create the method. Okay, so public static, I would have to remove void, but I'm just keeping it for now. Fetch account details, account contact details, something like that, contact details. Okay, so here, so as I had explained, right, that the whole funda of having the wrapper class is that you can create a list of the wrapper class, and then like, you, when you actually fill in all the information into this, right, you can keep on adding to that list of the wrapper class, and you can finally return that list, wrapper class list. So here I would be returning the list of wrapper class. Okay, so list of, and what is my, this is the return type. Okay, this is the return type. So this is my return type. So this method should be returning a list of account contact wrapper class. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, or let me just, okay, so for account, now I want detail from account and contacts, right? So for this one, I can, like, create, and, like, I can basically achieve this using an inner query. So I would be writing something as select id name. What else do we want? We want billing, we want type, and then we want yeah, billing street, city, and billing country. Okay, billing city, billing country, billing street. Just checking if I haven't given anything wrong. Billing street, billing city, billing country. Just checking if I have given these names correct. Okay, billing country. Okay, and here I'm going to write a inner query for contacts. Select id from contacts. So again, and then here this is an inner query from account. Okay, where, let's just put a condition where account name is not empty. Okay, because I have a lot of account records where the name is empty, where name is not equals to null, and let me put a limit of 10. I don't want to fetch more than 10 accounts. Okay, and here, okay, this is my for loop, right? So, okay. So if you don't know how to write an inner query, all you have to do is write, for example, in account, if I here, right? So basically the main thing is to observe this. This is not the exact object name for contact. Okay, this is the relationship name. So if you actually go to, let me show you what we should actually be writing in the inner query. You have to give the relationship name. Okay, so if I move to contacts, right? Second. Contact, right? So you can see the name is API name is contact, but here over here I have written contacts, right? Because this is a relationship name. So here if I go to, so this is the relationship with account, contacts relationship with account. If I click here, this is the relationship name. Okay, and this is what you have to use when you're writing the inner query. You always have to give the relationship name rather than the direct API name of the object. All right, okay, let's move ahead with this. So I have account details along with contacts, right? And I have only fetched the ID because I just want to count the number of contacts associated with the accounts. So I am not fetching anything else. Okay, here now let me create a list of the wrapper class. Okay, list, and this is my okay, this is done. Now in this list I will just add the records that I'm getting. Okay, all right, once again, here dot add, I want to add inside this list. And if you want to fill in the constructor, you have to you have to initialize it, right? So you have to use the new keyword, otherwise you won't be, I mean there's no other way that you can fill in this. So here I would be just using this new, and then what and all it is expecting, it is expecting account record and some integer value. Okay, it doesn't matter what you're passing, but we have to pass total contacts. So here the first thing it is expecting is account record, account type record, right? Because this is the data type that we have defined, and what it is ACC here, right? ACC, and then integer value. And integer value, what do we want to do? We want to count the contacts size. So what we can do, ACC dot what do we want to fetch? Contacts. Okay, ACC dot contacts dot size. Okay, you can use this function directly here, and that's it. This should actually give you the size of the contacts for each and every account record. Okay, so now this is a for loop. Here it ends, and here you can return this wrapper list. So now if you see, so we have queried the accounts and contacts, and we are creating we are basically filling in this constructor over here. So new account wrapper class. Okay, and here it is expecting account and some integer value account, and then in integer value we are passing the size of the contacts, right, for each. So it will basically so every time this list gets filled, right, for every account record, it will have its associated contact size. Okay, so this is done. And we are returning this wrapper. Okay, so when I actually call this function into my JS file, I would have to use this wrapper list, okay, in order to display the data. Okay, so now let's go to the, did I create the wrapper class demo? Here it is. Okay, so let's just first go to the HTML file. So if you guys remember, in order to display any data in form of if you're using lightning data table in LWC, then you would have to prepare the columns, right? Without preparing the columns, you wouldn't be able to because that data table, lightning data table, expects an attribute columns. So you have to prepare your columns in your JS file. So here I am, first of all, I'm just going to prepare my, first let's just import the method. Okay, so import get ACC contacts, and then here what I have to do is from @salesforce apex slash, and then class name dot method name. Class name is this dot method name. This is my method name. Okay, so this is okay. And now here let's just prepare the columns. Okay, if you remember the structure of the columns, this is how it goes. So inside this, each and every column you give, that has to go inside the curly braces. So if you see the table, how many columns do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's just create 4. 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. Okay, this is all I need. Now, if you guys remember, I was telling you about how to give the account name and also make it as a link, right? So the first thing that you have to do is you have to give the label. So what I want in the label, I want the label has to be account name. Account name, okay? And the field name would be field name is going to be, let me just copy this. Here, I would be passing the account link that I have created here, okay? This is the name, okay? Account link. Don't worry, you'll get it how it is, like, how we are going to form it. And here we are going to give that what kind of, field it is, like type. And the type is URL, okay? URL, all right? And here, now I'm going to give the type attribute, and inside the attribute, I would be defining that this, because previously we have seen that in the field name, you have to give the API name of the field, right? So let's say if I'm trying to display the account name, if I give the name value, right? Name from here directly over here, then it will display, but then it will not display it as a hyperlink. So that is why I'm overriding that with account link, where I am appending this like a backslash with account ID. But also that is okay, but I also want to display the account name, and I don't want to display the URL on the table, right? URL is fine, this will only give you the URL, but you want to display the account name as the name, but you want to also show it as that blue colored text, which actually makes it clear that it's a hyperlink and you can click on it. You don't want to actually display the whole URL. So for that, we have something called type attribute. Okay. Type attributes. Here, I can give label. One second. I don't have to give this actually. I just have to give label. And in label, field name. Okay, and here this should be the account name. Okay, and now everything that we are going to place in the field name should be from the wrapper and not should be from your normal list. You cannot just simply think, okay, name is this is the API name of the account name, so I'll just simply give this. No, you have to give the name what you have defined in the wrapper, and in the wrapper I have defined the account name as this. Even though I am anyway assigning acc.name to this, but I have to give this and not this. Okay, so account name, because I would be getting the data from the wrapper list. Okay, so here I would give it as this account name, and I think we should be good now. And let me give the target as blank so that it opens in a sub tab. Okay, this is if you click on the link, then where it should open, it's for that. So all right, so I think we should be good with this. Okay, All right, let's just fill in everything else, which goes with two simple things: account, let me see the table, type, contacts, address. Okay, so here account, let me just give it as, because the label that I have given on the table is type, so I'm just giving it as type. And in the field name I have to give the whatever I have given in the wrapper, so type. Okay, so here it's going to be type. Let me just copy this and fill in this one. Here I have to give total contacts, right? So here the label I want to show it as total contacts, and the API name would be what I have defined in the wrapper, right? Total contacts. So here goes the total contacts, and then what else? Address, right? Address. In address, I have defined it as billing address. Billing address, and that's it. These are your columns. You're done with your preparing your columns. Okay. We have given account name. We have given the type as URL, and we are making sure that this gets displayed as a link. Okay. Type, and this account link, we are giving the field name as account link because we have already prepared it over here. Okay. And then we are giving the type attributes, wherein we are saying that when you're displaying the value, the field name should be this, right? Whatever we are like, receiving here in the name should be displayed, but it should display as a link. All right. And then we have given the type, contacts, and billing address. So this is about it. Now let's just go to the class. So here the first thing that we would have to do is we have to define an attribute columns, and let's assign, one second. I'm just okay. Even if you don't define it as track, it's fine. It is still reactive. It's just about like, columns. So what I was trying to say, that you can define it without track. It will still be reactive. Every attribute you define in your LWC is reactive. So columns, and then let's just use the wire property. Wire, and what is the variable where I've imported? This is my variable. I've imported this, right? So get account contacts here. All right. And then after this, what I would do is wired account data. You can give any name here, whatever you want, account data. And here I would be receiving, so in the response, you would be receiving error and data. Okay. So error and data. Now here you have to just put a condition that if there's anything in the data, then what do you want to do? If there's anything in the error, then what do you want to do? So I am just going ahead, and if we have anything in the data, I want to, let's just assign other two variables. Okay. So data, and then also error. So here I will assign to this. Okay. And similarly, all right, so this should be fine. And okay. So in data, what am I getting? I am getting a wrapper list in the data, right? So, okay. Now let's just go to the HTML file and see that. Okay, here let's just create a lightning card first. And then if you guys remember the syntax for lightning data table, what and all does it expect? Data, columns, and key field, right? So let me first create a template, and I will, because I have data and error, right? And I want to create two blocks, one for data, one for error. So template, if true, if there is anything in data, okay, is equals to data, then only I want to enter this block. Okay. And if there's anything in data, then only I want to create the table. So lightning data table. Okay. And this is the syntax, if you remember. So let's just first give key field, should be ID. Then we have to give data, where we have the data in the data attribute, right? And then we have the columns in the columns attribute. So what, let's just copy so that we don't, yeah, it's same, but yep. So columns. Okay, sorry. All right. Okay, so here it is. And then this template ends here. And I just want to create another template for error. Template if true, error. Then let's just only display like error. Okay, so here I would just simply display error, and that's it. So if there's anything in the data, I would be just displaying the data, or I would be displaying the error. All right, so this is it. Let me like copy the meta file from somewhere. Let's say this one. And let's deploy the class. And then the component. So here you can see that I have simply used lightning data table, right? But there would be if you're working on on different kind of requirements, let's say you in this table, for example, let's say in this table you also want to display checkboxes, and then you want to receive the input from the user. Let's say if the user can select should be able to select any of these accounts, let's say first, third, fifth, or seventh. So whatever accounts you actually select, right? So those selected values, if you want to gather those selected values and then pass it back to the Apex controller, right, for any other data manipulation. So in such cases, there would be a lot of such cases where you would not be able to use lightning data table directly, but you would have to use the custom table. So we'll do those examples in upcoming sessions, but for now, just do not get confused or do not think that this is the only use of wrapper class. No, it is much more broader. This is the I would say the most simplest example where you can use the wrapper class. Okay, so okay, 1 second. What happened to this? Wrapper demo dot fetch account details. Wrapper demo dot. Is this not deployed? Let me try now. Let me just check the syntax. Okay, we forgot to do this, right? Or enabled. Otherwise, it won't be, your JS won't be able to identify this, right? Or enabled if you haven't. Here, I think it's fine. Okay. And now let's try to deploy the component. Okay. Now we can go ahead and include this component on one of the pages, wrapper class demo, right? So here I have my home page opened. Let me remove everything else. And so wrapper class demo. Wrapper class demo. This is the one. Just put it here. All right, I can see that we have the results here. Okay, we are not getting the account name. I think we did something with the syntax. Let's just go back. So this is what is happening, right? It's not actually like the way we have created the columns, we have messed it up somewhere because it is simply giving the the account link, right? And not actually the account name. Okay, so let's just go and check. Let's just see if this is same account link. Should be same because this is the only thing it's displaying here. I'm not sure if it's case sensitive. I'm just making it in smaller letters. And account name, account name. Okay. All right, so this is what we have changed. Let me deploy this again. Yes, so the problem was because we had given the URL as capitals, right? This is how it takes, because it should be case sensitive because this is the predefined types that they have, right? So this is what made the difference. Okay. So this is how you can actually use wrapper classes in your LWC component. And as I said, right, let's say if in the same requirement you want to select everything, right? Let's say you want to select few accounts and then you want to do some data, you want to do some kind of manipulation on this account. Or let's say you only want to once you select all these, you want to have a button and you want to click on that and you want to display all the selected accounts, based on your selection. Then how you can do all of those things. And if let's say you want to create radio buttons, and based on the selection, if you want to receive the input selection and you want to manipulate something, so in those cases also, all you have to do is you have to create extra extra variables in your wrapper class and you can use it basically. So I wouldn't be able to explain in this video, but I can make sure that I create another video where we have the expanded version of wrapper classes, where we are doing much more than displaying the records across multiple objects across multiple objects. Okay, so for now this is it about wrapper classes in LWC, and I'll see you in the next session.